Welcome to Carol and Gary's See America Tour. Hello everyone. Today is Monday, April 23rd. Carol, Jasper, and I made a quick move from Dallas over to Fort Worth on Sunday. The first thing that we did this morning was drive to the Fort Worth stockyards to look around. Between 1866 and 1890, drovers trailed more than 4 million head of cattle through Fort Worth on their way to the market. The city soon became known as Cowtown. As Carol and I were walking around this morning, we saw a herd of Longhorn cattle walking down the street toward us. Watch as they go by. After watching the Longhorns go by, we went into a place across the street called the Coliseum, where they hold rodeos. When not holding a rodeo, visitors can walk through and look around. On April 24th, Carol and I toured a log cabin village. The log cabin village is a collection of 5 former homes and approximately the same number of other buildings that were moved to the log cabin village and restored. The first home that we saw was a basic one-bedroom log cabin built in approximately 1855. One of the log cabins that we saw was called a double pen dog trot. This one was built in approximately 1848. Dog pen means that there were 2 rooms separated by a covered breezeway between them. The breezeway is what's called the dog trot. In the hot Texas summers, it made sense to separate the kitchen from the rest of the house. That way the heat from the kitchen would not reach the sleeping quarters. Remember, log cabins did not have air conditioning. This is the bedroom side of the house. This is the kitchen side of the house. This is a smokehouse built in approximately 1854. Since the refrigerator has not been invented yet, smoking would help preserve the meat. This is an old schoolhouse built in approximately 1870. This is a blacksmith shop. Blacksmiths made iron and steel objects necessary for cutting trees, building houses, farming, hunting, cooking, transportation, and many other uses. This is the outside of a grist mill, which would be used to grind wheat and corn into usable powder. Two-story log cabins were very rare. This one was built in 1853 by slaves and is one of the largest known to exist. After the slaves were given their freedom, many stayed on as sharecroppers, living in the house until 1939 when the structure was no longer habitable. On Wednesday, April 25th, Carol and I drove to the Fort Worth Bureau of Engraving and Printing, where paper money is printed for the United States. All U.S. currency is printed at one of two locations, either Washington, D.C. or Fort Worth, Texas. For security reasons, no photographic equipment, including cell phones, was allowed inside the facility. Visitors have to go through a metal detector before entering. The Federal Reserve submits an order at the beginning of each fiscal year. Then the Bureau of Engraving and Printing determines, based on history, how many notes of each denomination are needed to fill the order. $1 bills, $2 bills, 5s, 20s, and 50s are printed in Fort Worth. $10 bills and $100 bills are printed in Washington, D.C. Currency is printed 24 hours per day. During a 24-hour day, 19 million notes are printed. This equates to $34 million per hour. During 2018, the Western Currency Facility will print 4.5 billion notes with a face value of $193 billion. Notes are printed 32 per page in 3 stages, regardless of the denomination. You can buy uncut pages of 32 notes at the gift shop at approximately twice the cost of the note times 32. For example, a page of 32 uncut dollar bills was $65. On Thursday, April 26th, Carol and I drove to the Vintage Flying Museum at Meacham Airport to see old airplanes in a museum. Unfortunately, when we got there, we found that the museum was only open on weekends. But fortunately, we found out that there were several retired guys with aircraft mechanical experience who were volunteering to work on the airplanes during the week. This DC-3, also known as a C-47 cargo plane, had been pulled outside. More on this one later. The museum has a C-29 Superfortress nicknamed Fifi, which was a long-range bomber used during World War II. The C-29 has also been pulled outside, and the volunteers were planning to run the engines a short time later. One volunteer working on another plane said that they were going to run all 4 of Fifi's engines, but they kept shutting down the one engine that was running and then performing maintenance on that engine, so we didn't get a chance to hear more than one engine running. Oh, by the way, the rotating propeller is an optical illusion. I could not see the propeller turning in my eyes while filming, but the camera is showing that it was turning slowly. Okay, so back to the C-47. This plane is still capable of flying, and apparently flying well. The Vintage Flying Museum website says that they occasionally take civilian passengers up for rides in this plane. Here is the conclusion of a ride today. The girl standing in the foreground later in my video said that her husband, son, and mother-in-law had all taken the ride for her husband's birthday. The girl said that she didn't go because she's pregnant. This is an A-26 attack aircraft, nicknamed Special K, that was used in Southeast Asia for ground attack missions along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The A-26K has 8 50 caliber machine guns in the nose, 4,000 pounds of bombs in the bomb bay, and 8,000 pounds of ordnance mounted externally to the wings. Numerous other aircraft in various stages of restoration were sitting in the hangar. On Friday, April 27th, Carol, Jasper, and I drove to downtown Fort Worth to visit the Water Gardens and Sundance Square. The Water Gardens were built in 1974 and contain 3 separate pools. The aerating pool features multiple illuminated spray fountains under a canopy of large oak trees. The quiet blue meditation pool is encircled with cypress trees and towering walls that are covered in a thin plain of water that cascade almost 90 degrees down to the sunken blue water feature below. The sound of the water on the walls evokes thoughts of a gentle rain shower. The main attraction of the Water Gardens is the active pool, which has water cascading 38 feet down terraces and steps into a small pool at the bottom. The active pool was built for people to be able to walk down the terrace steps to be surrounded by and experience the power, sound, and motion of water crashing around them. Here is a 360-degree view of the bottom of the active pool. Sundance Square is a large area in downtown Fort Worth, spanning 35 blocks. 42 buildings in Sundance Square offer dozens of options for shopping, dining, and entertainment. Red brick streets, charming courtyards, and an expansive plaza add to the authenticity and excitement. Well, that wraps up our week in Fort Worth. As you can see, we've been very busy. We will be leaving Sunday for Lubbock, Texas. If you like this video and haven't done so already, please subscribe to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching.